from the front table here, and we tackled the first sentence because we thought there was probably more than we could eat in the whole thing. So our sentence was co-designed pre-market scope of the problem definition. And so breaking that down, what do we think this would look like? A pool of vendors or a group of vendors paid to co-design with the government agency will be about public and private collaboration. It would need to be visible to all. We would need to think about the clear stages and process, so you know if you're at a vague stage or at a more defined stage, understand how you go through it. You'd need to have access to the business, to the end customer, to the users, so that process would be effective. Obviously, it'd be about consulting really early before solution design. It is about a problem statement, not about solutions. It would be about governance and buy-in. Also, we'd have to make sure people were choosing problems that were inside their span of control. You couldn't just say, hey, it's World Hunger Week, let's go fix that one. We'd actually tackle things that actually the person engaging was actually in a position to affect something from. Really interesting question here is about budget. Sort of, as we said before, we think that, and I'm selfish, I'm a vendor, so we should get paid to participate in this process because it costs a lot of money, right? So how do we actually create a co-design fund to assist with that, to actually make it so that it's economic for all parties to participate in? Getting stakeholder impact. Really key point, the solution should not be in the problem statement. So often, hey, we want to buy this solution. Actually, talk about problems, and we'll help you iterate towards what the solution could be. Make sure you understand the prerequisites. Another issue would be about addressing the IP concerns. If people are bringing IP to the table to help solve the problem, how do we protect that, or how do we ensure we understand what that looks like? A broader governance model, including other stakeholders, making sure that we do think about the wider group there. And yeah, once again, stating the outcome, not the solution when the problem statement's developed. So that's kind of how we think it would be. In terms of the hurdles, this was quite an interesting exercise. I think when we sort of talked about it, it was like, culture, right? And we thought, well, that's not really going to help us get very far. But ultimately, a lot of the things that we identified as hurdles are the people aspects, it's the cultural aspects. So one of these is that idea of the one true way. Maybe there's someone in an ivory tower who is putting out plans about what capabilities they want to invest in, and if you don't happen to have a solution that matches that, well, you're never going to get past the front door. Obviously, key issues around risk and reputation concerns, and I guess an interesting point Avi made was around, in government, you don't really want to say, hey, we've got these problems. I think one of the other groups talked about it. Hey, we've got some privacy problems. Yeah, you've got another problem. You're on the front page of the paper. So it would be about suggesting solutions and trying to overcome those issues of risk and reputation that would come with it. We felt there could be a hurdle around the perceived time to go through this co-design process. Why can't we just issue an RFP? Wouldn't that be faster? I think we all know that actually to get to the business outcome, this would be a better process. And some of the existing mechanisms like the RFI and others might be seen as good enough ways to co-create, but we think this is a better solution. In terms of the actions we think would be a good way to go, we think identifying some target agencies and problems. There must be a sort of a particular agency or set of agencies, a group of agencies who are more able to take advantage of this and maybe have some problems that are more suited to this, because our next step would be to pilot the process. I guess the co-design process perhaps. To actually to start to do some iterations, talk about maybe doing a few different streams, so maybe three different problems with 3 different groups of different vendors working in it as a way to sort of spread out and see what we learn from it. One of the key issues in the hurdles was about a capability gap, both within public sector and also in the private sector, about what is co-design, what is effective co-design, what would be the effective way to iterate from a problem statement towards possible solutions. So we'd have to do a bunch of education, which would be about obviously building capability, but also about building confidence in the process. I don't know who's going to tackle this one, but clearly at some point we'd have to convince Treasury on funding, or wherever government funding works. One of my joys in life is I don't actually know how that works. But there would clearly need to be money to help make this happen that would need to come from somewhere. So we need to convince the powers that be that actually this process will yield better outcomes. And then with some early success, we would need to make this repeatable and scalable. We need to actually have a model that allowed it to actually scale out across more and more agencies as it managed to get some success. So that was our plan, and the crazy idea is actually just to do it, because it doesn't seem that crazy. Awesome.